I basically brought in a container of coconut water, used 25 grand, which was my total savings at the time.
And you had no background.
No,
So why did you choose that?
I flew all the way there for a 2-hour meeting. She said the fact that you've shown up and the energy, something that Americans really celebrate.
And I hope that was flying flat, right?
Absolutely. So I'm not flying all that way for a 1-hour meeting down the back of the bus. For me, it's building relationships is best done in person. You know, a leader in your industry, it's not going to be done just behind a screen. Lie on your deathbed thinking about that extra hour of work that you did. You're going to remember that event that you went to or something that you did with your kid.
Hi, I'm Steve Huey. I'm the co-host of Always Business Class. I'm also here with my co-founder, Steve Pianelli.
Thanks, Steve. Looking forward to this one.
We called you Scott earlier because we do have Scott as a guest. So Scott Mendelson, a friend I've known for many years, founder of Raw Sea. I remember when we met. I don't exactly know how we met, but I do remember 20 boxes of Raw Sea coconut juice turning up in my office one day. And that's when I knew Scott was a generous person, because I gave the juice away to all my fellow co-working and they loved it. And I think many people still drink Raw Sea today because of that moment. So Scott, you are involved in, well, you start Raw Sea and then you got all things coconut, but now you've expanded more. So tell us more. Tell us a little bit about you.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, great to be here. And I was trying to think when we first did meet, and I couldn't put my finger on it, but I do remember we used your services. I think it was 2018.
Yeah, that will be about right.
So
yeah,
when did you start?
I started in 2013. So
okay,
been running for a while.
A bit late to the party.
Before you found out about us, which is common.
But yeah, so I started Natural Raw Sea September 2013. I was living overseas before that. Came back to Australia. Didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't set out to start really an FMCG business. I had no business plan. I basically brought in a container of coconut water, used 25 grand, which was my total savings at the time. And my idea was to bring that in, sell it off, because I was drinking a lot of coconuts in Asia. And I could see that it was starting to take off in the US. And by the time I sell that container of coconut water, I'd work out what I wanted to do with my life. And 13 years later, I'm still trying to work out what I want to do with my life.
So coconut did not solve the issue?
Well, it sort of did and it didn't, so to speak. I had no background in FMCG.
Yeah, so because FMCG is one of the most fierce competitive spaces, and you had no background.
No.
So why do you choose that?
Where does the competitor come in? Because again, FMCG, like, let's roll back a little bit further. You've obviously got some sort of competitive DNA in there to make sure that 25K doesn't get flushed. And yeah.
Well, I think I've always believed, I've got 2 young girls, and I've always believed you're a product of your environment. Mm-hmm. Both my parents, immigrants. My father had his own business. My mum had her own business.
Oh, yes, okay.
So growing up, after sport on the weekend was spent in my father's factory, either running around or helping pack boxes. So I think I was always very much curious on business. I played a lot of sport, so I was lucky enough, to play some decent levels and some good sports. And I think that
What were the sports? I'm trying to build a segue here.
Yeah, believe it or not, athletics and basketball.
Right, there's the
A
Scott,
long time ago now.
There's the Scott Gidley connection. Obviously, we're having a chat beforehand about you loving watching sports globally, but no, I'll continue. I just wanted to see where the segue will go. But,
yeah. So I think, it wasn't an idea to really get into the industry. It was just to make a little bit of money. I'd had various businesses before. So, yeah, I think FMCG probably is one of the toughest industries, especially here in Australia, because you've got Coles and Woolworths that have, 65, 70% market share.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to get scale without both of those. But also, it puts a lot of pressure on the business. So, I just sort of got into it and it took off. Not quickly, because the first day that the container arrived, I didn't even have a business plan. I had nothing. So much so that my girlfriend at the time, who's actually now my wife, said, "What are you going to do with the container?" And I said, "I'm actually not sure." I hadn't thought that one through. So I rang my mate who had a warehouse, and I said, "Look, can I drop this container in?" And he's like, What is the container?" And I said, "It's coconut water." And he said, "Okay, interesting." So I unloaded the container, got home, and then my girlfriend said, "What are you going to do?"
How big is this container?
So it's a 20-foot container.
Yep.
So there's 20 foot and a 40 foot. So 10 pallets of stock.
Full to the brim.
Full to the brim. And I didn't even have a car at this stage. So Dana said to me, "Well, fill the back of my car and off you go." And that's what I did. I drove around the eastern suburbs for 9.5 hours, and I sold one box of coconut water for $22. And I got home and I was pretty upset.
Yep.
And she said, "Why are you upset?" And I said, "Well, I've just, for a better word, pissed up 25 grand because I only sold one box." And she said, "That's great." And I said, "What's great about it?" And she said, "Well, tomorrow you'll sell 2, and the day after you'll sell 4.
And that's why she's your wife. One of the reasons.
Correct.
I was
like, well, she's as crazy as me.
Yeah.
So that's how it all started. And it was literally for the first 6 months driving around in Dana's car, going to stores and basically begging people to buy it, because not many people knew about coconut water back then.
It was very much infancy, right? Yeah.
Look, there were always coconut water in a can in Asian grocery stores, but it wasn't mainstream in Australia. It was really just in the health food stores.
Now it's everywhere. Every shop corner.
Now it's everywhere. Yeah. So
you started it.
No, I certainly didn't start it, but I'd like to think that I've given it a good
strongly.
push.
Yeah.
And what were some of those aha moments along the journey of driving around 9.5 hours a day, trying to, obviously it's an incredible product, but it's new. It's a new entrant, like educating our business is about educating
like
people.
Club.
So what were some of those aha moments where the penny dropped and you're like, obviously it's tiring. You're putting the hours in. Were there moments there, or you're going, "What the hell am I doing?" Or like, actually, no, something's clicked. When did it click? When did it?
No, I don't think I've never been fully comfortable, even today after 14 years and the business, growing year on year considerably. I've never been fully comfortable. And I think going back to what I said earlier about being product of the environment, I think just seeing my parents working so hard and seeing setbacks, and also playing a lot of sport and just knowing that you just can't give up. So I think a lot of it had to do with that, but also the fact that I wasn't from FMCG, so I was quite naive.
Yeah, which sometimes comes to a benefit, right? Like
100%.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you now, if I knew back then what I knew now, there was no way I was ever starting a business in FMCG, let alone a drinks business, because drinks are tough.
Yeah, your Coca-Cola, the Pepsis of the world, and these are big boys that you're playing with, and But fast forward to now, like, how big is coconut water? How big's your company? And it's now global, right? And you're helping other people, and I think that's the great thing. We love to be able to pass the baton on and pass the knowledge on, and you're helping other people that still have a bit of naivety, but you bring a bit of structure and stuff to move them forward as well. So
I think it's been important for me to try to give back where I can, because there've been a lot of people along this journey that have helped me, that probably looked at me and said, "Gee, he really doesn't know what he's doing." So if I can help people out, because it, even though it's a large industry, it's actually quite small.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you get to know the players very quickly. You get to know who the good people are and the not so good people are, like any industry. So I do try to, to give back and try to help people out, with questions, thoughts, feedbacks, because I know what it's like to be in that position. I know what it's like to know absolutely nothing. So if I can help, people make one less mistake, because I've made them all, then, I feel good about that because it makes the industry not just drinks, but the whole FMCG industry better. And with coconut water, I think 3 or 4 years ago, household penetration, which means, people that have actually bought something in the category in the last 6 months, was like 11-12%. In the last year, it's gone from 21 to 26%.
Oh, wow, in a year.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you think about sparkling waters at 16, still waters at 27%.
Oh, wow, coconut water's 25%.
26. And I'd say since last year, it's probably close to, if not over 30% now.
What is it displacing? What are people choosing?
Look, there's a number of reasons why the category's grown so much. Probably the major reason is that it's such a simple product. Coconut water's one ingredient.
Yeah, it feels fresh, feels healthy, and like you can drink water or you can drink coffee, you can drink juice, but you don't feel like coconut water's juice. You feel like it's separate category.
Well, it hasn't got all the sugar, and I think there's been
what's the category shift?
The shift has been away from things like kombuchas or sugar-free drinks. The better for you drinks, which say they don't have sugar, but they've got erythritol or stevia in it, and they've got 15 or 16 ingredients. People are really going back to simple things. The other thing is that coconut water is unlike any other drink. 50% of our 1 litres are bought for mixing, so as an ingredient. Protein shakes, smoothies.
You really opened up the concept. I thought coconut water is this luxury item that sits there, but it's blown my mind.
Has anyone made alcohol drinks with coconut water?
There are alcohol drinks on the market, but alcohol's in a bit of decline. So
yeah, definitely.
And also in Australia, we've benefited from a lot of immigration. When I started the business 13 years ago, like I said, nobody really knew what it was, but a lot of immigration from Southeast Asia, Pacific Islands, people that grew up with coconuts, they understand it.
Yeah,
it's not something
drink of choice.
It's not something you need to, really educate.
Yep.
I like the concept where you talked about helping new entrants, and also the whole idea is that if we're sending the lift back down.
Absolutely.
Helping others. So what in this whole time, what have you felt like the FMCG competitive market has it changed? Of course, Coles and Woolworths have always been around. Now you've got things like Aldi and a few others. How does the landscape changed a bit?
It's definitely, I think it's definitely getting harder. I wouldn't want to be starting a brand now. There's no way in the world. I don't think you can start a brand with 25 grand. When I started the business, there wasn't really social media either. Now you could spend 25 grand on one post with a influencer.
Right.
So, now it's the TikToks, it's the Snapchats, it's the out of supermarket. When I first started, it was all about spending in supermarket.
Oh, see. Okay.
Now it's all about engaging with the younger audience, trying to get things to go viral. So it's completely different now.
Much harder way of
much harder. And competition.
So the blueprint you had back then completely just scrubbed.
Well, there wasn't any blueprint.
Oh yeah, sorry.
If I had one.
Yeah.
But I think also too, everything's just much more expensive.
Yeah.
Wages, shipping costs, warehouse and distribution, just the cost of doing business is a lot more, and margins certainly aren't going up.
Yeah. So what do you see as bright spots? You're helping a lot of people, and you're also doing other.
I was doing a bit of other stuff, so I do have interest in other businesses, but more sort of as a silent investor.
Yep.
Just advising, but I've sort of cut back on that because we're doing a big push into the US at the moment. So that's where my focus has been, and obviously a lot of travel as well. Mm-hmm. But in terms of bright spots, I think there's opportunity to do things that are a little bit different. I think consumers on the whole want to support smaller brands, and certainly Australian-made brands or Australian-owned brands, if the quality's there. Yeah. So there's always bright shoots. Like, it's not all doom and gloom, but I just know how hard it is. I built this business by myself. I haven't had any investors or anything like that. And to get to the stage where we're at, I think is very, very difficult to do these days.
It's been phenomenal.
And what would you say your competitive advantage is now where you are in the space, and especially if we now talking global expansion? I think it's so great celebrating Australians and Kiwis. It's so hard to crack international markets, and it's kind of the unicorn aspiration in regards to like great tried and tested here. Good friend and mentor Radek, who blew up Swiss Vitamins and that whole thing about
Amazing.
going to the US. Great book, The $1 billion Blueprint, I think it's called. But lots of learnings in regards to going to the US. What do you think your competitive advantage is from a travel perspective, and why you do travel so much to the US? Because it's all done over handshakes over there, really, right?
It is. I've always been a big advocate face-to-face meetings. It's very hard for me to form relationships, feel the vibe, read the room, doing it on Zoom. In fact, during COVID, I had a review meeting with a retailer, and they were starting to pass notes between each other, and then said, "Oh, look, the system's not great. We're going to turn off the video." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm not really comfortable with that." Yeah. And I just think that, to form relationships, especially early on, it's, for me, really important to do face-to-face. And, we've just signed with a national retailer in the US. And I know for a fact that the thing that got us over the line was the fact that I flew all the way there for a 2-hour meeting. I basically arrived at 1 a.m. in the morning, had a 9 a.m. meeting. I was back at the airport at 11:30.
Mate, that's up there.
And when the buyer said, "Look, this is your second trip. If you're going to be this determined and this dedicated, we're willing to give you a go." And she made a point of saying, "We get a lot of interest from overseas.
Yeah.
And it's fine that people want to do it on Zoom, etc. But she said the fact that you've shown up and the energy that you've shown, is something that Americans really celebrate."
And I hope that was flying flat, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not flying all that way for a 1-hour meeting down the back of the bus.
Well, in a way, you actually went back in time because you would have landed before you left.
I know.
You had the meeting.
Yes.
Time travel.
So points or status, or combo of both if you can have it?
Well, points is good, but status gets you more.
Yeah.
So for me, it's, I think last year I did 166 days away. So for me, it's about having that routine and having that certainty around my travel. Sleep's super important, especially when you're going to the US for, for under 36 hours. So for me, it's knowing the routine that I like to get into, flying into LA, even things like having the global pass or the APEC card that gets you straight through customs, because as you know, you can land in LA and wait 15 minutes or 15 hours. And then, being part of IHG Group Ambassador, I can rock up to the hotel at 9 o'clock in the morning and get a room straight away.
Yep.
So things like that are really important to me, more than just accumulating.
The APAC card, obviously there's a lot of business founders listening to this, and a lot are trying to crack. We've got a lot of tech founders that do the backwards and forwards, and not all of them know about these little hacks. It would be great to hear in your own words, because we've got a lot of people that are slowing down travel to the US because of getting through customs, etc. What's an APAC card?
So the APEC card basically covers the APEC, the countries that are part of APEC. So mainly in Asia, China, Hong Kong, Singapore, Vietnam, Brunei, Thailand, Sri Lanka. You get to pick 5. You send off all your details. They, do criminal checks.
They check you out.
They absolutely do. And basically, I like to say it's like flying as aircrew, because you land and
going that special line.
So that's an ultimate hack
processed
there, right? No matter, even if you go in business class and you then get stuck at customs, it's the first and last experience, right? As an airport. So.
And I go up to Vietnam because that's where most of our products are from, and a lot of it's last minute. And you have to get a visa. that you've got to go online and do it. And then once you get there, if you don't want to wait in line, you have to pay a little something on the side.
Express payment.
And all those things are just time.
Yeah.
And when you're getting off a flight
Energy,
and you've got meetings straight away, the last thing you want to be doing is standing in line for
What do you pay for an
2.5 hours.
APEC? Is it a yearly thing or 5 year or?
You have to demonstrate the certain business they're doing in those certain countries.
Yes.
And you have to have minimum number of trips.
Yeah.
So it is designed to facilitate business between countries. So not that easy to get, but not difficult.
Yeah,
if you're actually doing the right business.
It's time and money, because every time you're applying for a visa to another country,
Love it.
you're paying an extra fee.
Also, you have a risk. You talked about certainty, and actually, in the previous podcast we had with Henry Coulton, CEO of Core Plus.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know much about the Core Plus Explorer, who are actually sponsors of this podcast?
You mentioned IHG, so Emily will be like, "Hey, come on,
I
how do
know.
we get Scott across the line?"
I actually signed up yesterday
Hey,
because
We had nothing orchestrated in that.
yeah, because I'm flying to Melbourne tomorrow for a Coles range review,
Yep.
and I wanted to be close to the office because the city is absolutely
tennis, right?
tennis. Yeah, so you could probably buy a hotel with the prices they're charging. So I actually signed up last night, so I know a little bit from what I've read, but
Cool. Well, we'll tell you a bit more. So, all Core Plus Explorer, who are our partners and also sponsors podcasts, they got some good benefits. Straight up, you get 30 nights status. So you basically get, I'll call gold straight up. You can, when you go dining, you can get 30% off up to 10 people. So what we've been using it for is having
all our business meetings are literally in the hotel, so it's like the first dinner we did for 10 people, it's $350 back. So
nice.
Hosted dinners up to 10, 30% of food, 15% of drinks, 15% of hotels. Oh, what else have they got? They got some special events. We went to a bunch of different events. I think we went to see
Alex Deminor, the tennis player. So it just we just literally finished the podcast with Emily, and this like I was an IHG ambassador as well, the sports and events, right? We did lots of group bookings, but just the way they're building experiences into it. And I know we mentioned like experiences, that's what we travel for, sports.
Absolutely.
And they've just opened up this whole community aspect of like, you know what, it's not just a hotel membership. And I think that's the future, right? Like hotels are just transforming into
more than just beds now. They're
So-
community, they're events, they're experiences, they're memories. So that's why we like working with them, because they are doing more than just the rooms, more than just the stay.
Well, they need to really, because if you just want a room, there's a million options in every city.
What matters most to you from a hotel perspective? Like, we talk about that routine of going to the States a lot and traveling a lot. Like, what is that non-negotiable, well-traveled Scott look like?
It's definitely the early check-in.
Yep.
Because
you don't want to be
a lot of the flights out of Australia into anywhere, you're either getting in super early or super late.
Yep.
And having to wait till 2-3 in the afternoon potentially just completely wrecks the day. Especially when you jet lag, because you want to get into the room, have a shower, get yourself settled.
Yeah.
So that's probably one. Breakfast is a nice to have, but not a necessity. Like if it does have a pool and sauna, because it's good to have a bit of a swim and a sweat, especially when you're in Asia, because it's 99% humidity.
Just getting acclimatized.
Yeah. So they're probably the main things, and just central, just easy to get to, in and out.
What would you love to have? Like if you had a magic wand in regards to the travel experience as a business owner that travels you're probably in our top 10% in regards to how many miles you travel, but like what's the next frontier of travel and ease and well traveled look like and feel like for you?
I don't really know if there is anything between what I'm really doing and getting to private. And that's not going to happen. So the APEC cards, the global entries, the being able to use all the points I have to upgrade myself to first on the US Australian route. I don't really think there's anything else, because the biggest thing is the waiting time in airports. whether it's customs, coming or going.
And what do you how do you plan your do you do bleisure? You always try to fuse in experiences and stuff when you're traveling for work, and then what does a vacation look like for you outside of work?
I think I definitely do.
Yeah.
And one of the great things growing up was that my parents used to take us to Asia a lot on the business trips, so got to experience that. Dana and I have just started taking our kids, 6 and a 9-year-old, taking them to the factories, which they're really enjoying.
Oh, awesome.
So we try to mix things up, but I definitely, if I can, get some downtime, whether or not it's a game of golf. I do like my golf.
Do you like your golf?
I'm not very good, but I do enjoy it. But I've got a few friends that are traveling a lot to America. A friend of mine takes sporting teams over there. So as my wife says, it's amazing how often I end up in the US just around the time that a major sporting event's
Just
on.
coincidence.
Yeah,
Absolute coincidence.
The global expansion is strategically aligned with
But like I
events.
had 2 big retailer meetings last year in November around the same time that the All Blacks were playing Ireland and Chicago.
Yeah.
And Dana came with me for part of that, so we got to spend five nights in Chicago.
Yep. Are you smashing the points now? Are you earning bucket loads?
I am. Yeah, I think I've spent about 3 million points in the last year.
Yeah,
So,
great. Well, as long as you're earning more than 3 million, that's the key.
I've got plenty.
And we've spoken in the past plenty of times about that.
Yes.
And what's the greatest unlock with you around points and loyalty? Obviously, working with Steve over the last couple of years. So, yeah, what piqued your curiosity to kind of start working with the Flights Club, or back in its day, I Fly Flat?
Well, I think, when I first started the business, I had no money. I think my credit card limit was probably about $500, so that wasn't getting you much. And, as the business grew, I obviously saw what Steve was doing, and I was like, a lot of these points they're not free, but I'm doing this anyway. Mm-hmm. So that's when I locked in with Steve in 2000. I think it was late 2018, and Steve told me what the best credit cards to get, and best way to, I guess, use the system to my advantage. Mm-hmm. And it was before then I wasn't loyal to any airline. Mm-hmm. I wasn't flying that much, to be honest.
Yep.
So my journey's only really started in the last sort of 7 or 8 years. And now it just allows me to, pay for complete family holidays. It allows me to, that trip to the US was literally a last minute thing, and having high priority, I could call up Qantas and be like, can you release a business or first class seat for me, and use the points. So it's been great because it just allows me to be fresh. It allows me, I guess, to, be at the front of the queue.
Because it does take the edge of it, because sometimes when you have a trip, you go, well, okay, how much are these tickets? And generally unplanned, it's a large number, and you got these points and the abilities, if you know how to use the points and understand the system. I don't really feel like the system is that complicated.
It's not.
But the thing is, there's multiple layers of things, and then as a business owner, you've got 600 things on your mind. So you can't really take in this extra bit of thing and try to game it and win it.
Yeah.
So
I think the biggest thing is just keeping up to date, but that's what I've got you for.
Yeah.
Because, when points are being devalued or there's great offers around, how
to snap them up.
You're always at the forefront, whether or not it's on LinkedIn or in the papers. So I think once and I know each year, most of the time, probably 60% of the travel that I'm going to do. So I know that I'm going to go to New Zealand for a couple of times. I'm going to go to Melbourne probably once a month, etc. Up to Asia 5, 6, 7 times. So I'm pretty good at just at the start of the year going, this is what I'm going to do, and this is how I'm going to pay for it. Use points.
Yeah.
You most of the time cash or points or combo of both? You kind of
either, for example, US book with points, or pay cash and then upgrade to first from business. So I tend to, depending on the value and what the prices are.
Booking with points to US is the biggest bang for buck.
Yes.
Actually, because US business class prices are close to 10,000 return.
Yeah.
These days. So
but even something like, we're taking the kids to Europe this year for the first time, and I managed, again, being Platinum 1, being able to ring up and during school holidays get 4 business class seats with points. So look, had to, ring up a few times around the dates. But, that's probably $70,000-$80,000 worth of value. So that's where I think, I know you're not a huge believer in staying loyal to airlines and stuff like that, but I think that's where having the high status.
We definitely want both if we can make it happen.
Absolutely.
So
but that to me is, great value because earning so many points through the business anyway.
Yeah. So the magic is about understanding how the system works, and then you're also adapting your travel styles to match the system where possible. Of course, there's other things, but if you can do more than 50%, maybe 60% on points, you actually save so much money for your company that you can then redeploy.
Exactly. And just having that flexibility.
Yeah.
It's not that easy just to call up and say, I need a flight in 2 days. Is there a seat for me, without paying a stupid amount of money?
Yeah.
So the flexibility is the biggest thing for me.
Yeah. That's what I love about points. Actually, of course, have you done any cancellations at the last minute with points? Because when you cancel points, you get your points and taxes back.
Yeah, I actually haven't.
Yeah, well, that's.
I just move the flights.
Or if there is another flight.
Yeah.
If there's another
I
flight.
think that's one of the greatest advantages, the competitive advantage of points. So often you pay cash and then you end up paying
massive cancellation fees.
Yeah, cancellation or change fees, and that's where they get you. So another reason to use points. If you're telling younger founders in regards to this whole in-person versus Zoom, because I think there's a lot of founders and business owners that have stayed the COVID way in regards to just, let's do virtual. What are some of that advice in regards to, especially FMCG founders out there that are trying to crack the nut, like the benefits of being in person and this business class lifestyle that has helped you grow the business to the next level?
Look, I don't think it just applies to FMCG, but for me, it's building relationships is best done in person. You just miss little things, I think, on Zoom. I think also it's hard to, when you've got a 15-minute Zoom meeting, everyone's logging in on 30 seconds before. Yeah. And then it's like, we've got 30 seconds to go before Zoom kicks us off, or I've got to run to another meeting. It's very hard to build any sort of personal relationship. I'm not saying I build personal relationships with all the buyers or everybody I meet in business, but, it's just things like we were talking before the podcast started about basketball and Josh Giddey. And so now next time I see you, if Josh Giddey's made an all-star team, I'll be like, oh, how good is that? And that to me is building a relationship and building that foundation. Totally. Whereas doing just a 15-minute Zoom call is very, very structured. It's very matter of fact, which can work. I think you need a mixture. Like, I don't want to come and see you face to face for every conversation or meeting that we have.
Yeah.
But I think if you really want to build relationships, build your brand, if you want to be somebody that's, a leader in your industry, like Steve, it's not going to be done just, behind a screen.
What's the maybe one or two examples of you flying to the other side of the world? You gave obviously a great one at the start in regards to making the effort, because I definitely find North America, you make the effort. Like, you ask them to come down for a meeting, they're like, no, we've got to plan that. Like, we've got to make a week of it. Whereas we're really happy to just jump on a flight and go up there. I've got lots of great communities up there. But what are some of those like aha moments? Like, if I didn't jump on that plane and go out for dinner, I wouldn't be here. Like, you got any like fond memories of like, Jesus, did that just happen?
I think, building relationships is obviously one, the example I gave earlier, but it's also, I guess, going up to factories a lot. So I travel a lot and people are like, do you really need to go 4 times a year to visit the factory. Can't somebody else do it?
Mhm.
Now, they probably could,
Yep.
but I feel like when there's been issues and I've been able to jump on the plane, they really respect that.
Yeah,
And it really shows a sign of respect and that we're there for the long term. And, you know, a lot of people talk a big game and say they're going to do a lot of stuff with factories and it never happens.
Mhm.
So for me, it's protecting relationships as well as building relationships.
Mhm.
So that I wouldn't say there's been a huge aha moment, but I think
the compounding effect.
I think as I've gotten older and gotten into this business more and got more mature in terms of, you know, running the business and being a leader as well, it's just those little things that can add up at the end of the day.
Well, we caught up with Ethan from July, obviously another great Australian brand, and then Richard, and Richard's obviously up there a fair bit in regards to the factories, and it's amazing what can happen. And I think again to that point, it's like being able to actually be in face and connect with people at all the vertical.
Yeah, and also, you know, every country has its different thing, right? So you want to respect that. Also, emails and Zooms can get lost in translation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, are they angry? Are they not? Are they going to do it? Are they not? So I think going up there, you know, I'm going up in 2 weeks up to Vietnam because it's the Lunar New Year's celebrations.
Yep.
I'm only going up for the celebrations. They'll obviously being business, and the factories was like they were shocked. They're like, "You're going to make the effort." I'm like, "Of course, this is important to you guys."
Yeah.
So I think it's just little things like that. It's not going to give you instant.
Mm-hmm.
You're still working with that same factory that you kind of started with, or?
Yeah, we work with. We've had long-term relationships with all our factories.
That's amazing.
So-
Because there's layers upon layers of trust, integrity,
Absolutely.
respect built in.
It takes a long
Yeah.
time to build that. Very short time to ruin it.
And which means that they know that when they're producing product, they're producing it for a good guy, someone who cares about us.
You'd have to ask them.
And when you're traveling so much, like as you said, what was it, 166 days or something last year? You still obviously have this compartmentalizing the business travel with actually the joy of travel. Like it was awesome. We just connected before this around going to events and experiences, the Josh Gidley thing. What's on the bucket list? Like obviously you've got this next milestone with kids growing up and taking them to factories and also building, but like what's on the bucket list both personally and with the family, travel wise?
Personally, it's all the major sporting events. But also personally giving the opportunity to my kids as well to see all that. I think I'm always talking with my mates about, you know, we're getting older and, you know, you're not going to lie on your deathbed thinking about that extra hour of work that you did. You're going to remember that event that you went to or something that you did with your kids. So I think I was super lucky, and I appreciate it now, you know, the sacrifices my parents made to take us overseas. So that to me is having the experiences with family and friends. That's everything to me.
What do you think about kids flying economy or kids flying business class?
That's always a contentious one.
Yes, well, I'm not sure I should say this because Dana will kill me, but my kids only flew business class for the first time middle of last year. Dana didn't want them to fly business because she didn't want to set a precedent and didn't want to, I guess, spoil them.
So always a curly question. That's why I asked.
Yeah, so I'd like to say that I flew with them in economy. But as I said to Dana, well, if you want to be miserable and set an example, that's up to you. So
Hey, but hopefully that business class was up to the factories to see.
it was actually.
It was
actually up to Jakarta.
There we go. Educational experience.
So I think, you know, and the fact that my daughter sent me a picture of herself from the iPad saying, Dad, this is amazing. I'm living my best life.
Okay.
Probably goes back to my wife's point. So, but no, I think, you know, we want them to really respect that it's, you know, it's expensive to do it and we're working hard to do it. And that's what we reinforce.
We definitely get some founders. It was, until they got business, then that's when they go business class. And so it's always a fun little question to put out there. But yeah. I've got 5 kids, so it's,
5.
so good luck trying to ring Qantas to say
Yes, I'm not sure even I can help you with that one.
7 seats.
Release the whole cabin from point seats. It's not
Get
gonna
your
happen.
own plane.
So we have to do the old paper scissors rock. Who's
Oh.
flying with mum or dad? But I think, but they also this always business class sort of mindset, and we kind of talk about it as like when you turn left instead of right. It's not just about the luxuries of flying well. It's the coincidences that happen. Like the people that are up there are journaling. They're not consuming content. It's just you're wired a little bit different. So
Yeah.
we can talk about it as a luxury, but actually some stuff happens up there as well. So
It's compounding, because if you're thinking about your business, you think about when I travel and you look out into the sky and you think about all these big ideas because you're above everything. You're not in the nitty-gritty detail. So
That's
think
why I
about
actually
these
like
ideas.
that Qantas at the moment doesn't have Wi-Fi on many flights.
Forces you to disconnect.
It forces you to disconnect
So
and
it's a feature.
make some notes.
it's a
and-
feature.
Yeah. Because I think, we're on our phones 24/7. People want answers within, people send you a WhatsApp message, and if you haven't replied
They
within
send
3
question
minutes,
mark.
they're like, "Are you okay?"
Mm.
It's like, so, I agree with you, but for me, it's especially flying in and out of Asia and the US. It's about getting as much sleep as I can, because
Yep.
I'm often only in places for 2 or 3 days, so I'm not a great sleeper as it is. So for me, I don't usually even eat on the flights these days.
In the lounge,
Eat in the lounge,
get on board,
board.
mask, eat,
Yeah.
and
And that's a great thing about coming back from the US. You go to the lounge, you can have a shower,
Mm-hmm.
have something light, get on, it's 10, 11 o'clock at night, might watch, a movie, and then,
basically it's treated like a bed.
absolutely.
Flying
We've
bed,
actually got a good podcast. We're actually shooting it tomorrow with Everlab. Have you come across Everlab? They're
No.
new sort of health protocol, longevity, especially targeted towards founders and executives.
Okay.
It's we're actually
I
just
look
going
forward to
through it.
listening.
Yeah, it'll be a good one. But they bring in the fly kit. So a friend of mine kind of worked for the US military about how do you get soldiers back from 6 months and then acclimatizing them back. And he's created this amazing product called Fly Kit.
Okay.
Hey, they're not sponsoring the podcast or anything, but
Not yet.
They might be.
not yet. Plug. But it's amazing. We'd love to send you one. Just that'd
be fantastic.
You literally put in your flight details, and it curates as like when to eat,
Brilliant.
blue light glasses. And I must say, it's just like when we went to Antarctica last year, when you're dealing with so many time zones all over the place, it's a game changer. Like when to take vitamin C to put your circadian rhythm, because I think that's the new frontier. Actually, it's not about so much the incredible meals in first class. It's like the ones that travel heaps is just like, if I feel better and you can get,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't mind paying.
It's
So
about
we'll
sort of
send you a fly
energy,
kit.
less downtime, ability to land back and just do the stuff you need to do
Yeah.
and just get into it. So basically, it's a bit like trying to bring you closer to time travel, because if you just be there without all the effects, then you'll become much more effective.
Yeah, because we have routines and supplements and times to do things, and our watches telling us what to do. But with flight, it can be quite confusing, right? With the different time zones, and we're all different.
Especially the hydration thing, which was a big thing for when I met him, is the amount of water you lose when you fly 12 hours. And especially if you have a glass of wine or something too, it just accelerates everything versus.
But the flying thing there's this big conflict. Now, I talk about it often. It's about going to the toilet on the plane. So if you're flying first and business class, the toilet's just there. Most of the time it's going to be empty. So if you need to go, you can go. But if you're flying economy, you have to assume that most of the time the toilet is busy.
Yes.
And you got to pick your time.
Especially if you're on the window, you've got multiple choices.
And you have to climb over 5 kids.
Yeah.
There's multiple
It doesn't
obstacles
happen.
to get there just to go to the toilet. So
Yeah.
I talk about going to the toilet as a test of, it's not luxury, it's just comfort. And business and first means that you can go whenever you want. Maybe you might think about that in your next trip.
And what was the other thing you say, Steve, that got, like, I love how you frame things, is that when you're sitting in economy, you're dictated by the environment around you. and you're not actually in control, and
No.
there is no certainty
Yeah.
on how this is going to go. Whereas at least when you're turn left, there's a bit of certainty. You can close the blinds, or you can, you're not confronted by.
Well, no one can kick your seat because it's too far away. No one can recline on you.
Yeah,
That's true.
And generally, it's a 1-2-1 configuration, so there's no one next to you that can bother you. So it's like whatever you choose to do, 99% chance you can do it. But if you do it in economy, then there's only 10% chance you can do what you want because everyone else decides what you're going to be doing.
Exactly.
So it's a different mindset. They always advertise that it's always about sleeping, but it's more than just sleeping. Anyone can sleep, but you can't sleep if someone's annoying you
No.
at the same time. So.
Are you going to be up for Project Sunrise? Are you up for a 22-hour? Or are you quite happy to have a circuit breaker in the middle?
Yeah, I was talking to this with a couple of mates at golf on the weekend. It was split between us.
Yeah.
We kept jumping around. Look, the good thing is that Raw Sea is going to be on those planes.
Are
so
they? Oh, that's awesome.
I should say that yes, I'm going to do it. But I don't know. It's a long time, even in business.
Yeah. I did the 18-hour like Auckland, New York, and
Yes, I've done that a number of times.
give me a circuit breaker. Like,
And even the Dallas one is I'm
It's a long
doing the Dallas one in 4 weeks, and it's a long flight. So look, I'll try it.
Yeah.
But I'm not sold.
yeah,
It's one of those swings where I think if you have a good flight, you have a good flight.
Yes.
But if you have a bad flight,
oh, that's a
it's like,
bad one.
oh my God, it's like, how long is it going to be?
Yeah. It's a long time. I definitely wouldn't want to be down the back of the bus on that one.
That's a
Timing's essential too, as you said. Like the more, it's actually when you become a frequent executive traveler, it's actually about when you leave and when you arrive more so than the length, right? Like
Yes.
if it can leave at 6 p.m. Yeah, but 22 hours is actually pushing through. You can't actually get the proper departure and arrival.
Yeah, and my body might say to me, I'm better off just having a stop in LA for
Go for a walk, stretch the legs.
exactly.
Yeah.
But time will tell.
Yeah. Well, it's untested,
Oh,
and they've got some tech around it. Yeah.
we could be talking for hours in regards to this. We haven't even double clicked on events and experiences. But yeah, I know you want to get to some other sports and events. Is F1 definitely up there for you? You've been to a few of those already?
I actually haven't. It's not probably huge on my list.
Yep.
I'm a big golfer.
Right.
So definitely some of the golfing events, football, just all the big ones, even Tour de France.
Yep.
I think just anywhere where it's, a nice place to go and visit.
Antarctica, is that on your list?
A friend of mine just got back from down there.
Yep.
Looks good. You've done it recently?
We chartered a ship next year, so we've got 160 entrepreneurs. We're making
Okay.
sure there's a bit of education on there for tax purposes. No.
Well, I just came back.
Yes.
Christmas New Year.
Yeah, looked amazing. Looked
Spectacular.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think if I can tie in some
America.
South
breakthrough.
America. I haven't done any South America.
You got the product over there in South
market
America?
research.
Yeah,
Maybe market again for tax reasons. But yeah, I think just traveling. Traveling's a gift.
Yeah.
I can't get people that say they don't want to travel. I think it's just it's so interesting to see what the world has to offer.
Yeah,
Because
you
every
probably
time
wouldn't.
Every time you travel, like say in your space, do you go visit the supermarkets? Do you go visit all these different things to see what's happening?
Absolutely. I love, I always want to try to be in the center of town so I can just, like when I'm in New York,
Yeah.
like I spent 5 or 6 hours just walking around Manhattan
Yeah.
and just going into little stores. Of
Yeah.
course, I'm going into every supermarket. I do that here in Australia
Yeah.
on
Just gotta
family
see
holidays.
what's happening, right?
Dana knows that anywhere we stop, I'm
Duck
off.
in.
So yeah, that's part of the traveling.
Yeah.
I lived in China for a few years, and that was just incredible because it was before social media and really the internet, and it just opens your eyes to what's out there in the rest of the world, because it can be, especially back then, very insular because you're getting your TV from 4 TV stations and
Mhm.
reading newspapers and a couple of magazines. Now it's, you can visit a place before you visit it with social media.
Yeah, or even Google Earth. You can basically fly through the whole
But I wonder, I suppose, without travel and your sort of experience in going to these new destinations, Raw Sea, you probably wouldn't be there because you wouldn't have seen or experienced coconut water in other worlds, right, in other countries. So.
Yeah, I don't think I would have given the US a go if I hadn't have been over there and seen.
Are you excited about the US? Like, it's a big beast.
It is. I think, I set myself sort of a goal that I wanted to try it. I've set some time and a budget, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and I can say, look, I gave it a go. It hasn't affected the business here, but I'm the sort of person that doesn't die wondering. So I'd rather have a go. And
there's that curious mind kicking in again.
Yeah, I think so. So look, is it going to be a success? Is it going to work? Probably not.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
at least you're not going in there with complete naivety at the start.
Oh, God.
Let's just get a few containers over there and we'll give it a crack.
No, there's definitely a lot of lessons.
What's the big difference, do you think, between the US? Like, obviously, I've heard it from Rad's point of view. It's like, you think you can go in with 5x the budget for this, but actually you need 100x. But yeah, what's the biggest difference that you're finding ready to go over there versus Australia?
Look,
for any FMCG brands.
The market's so much bigger.
Yeah,
350 million people versus sort of 30 million, so it's 10 times the size.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot more retailers, so there's a lot more opportunity because you're not going to two. You can go to a mall in the US and there can be 5 different supermarkets and they've got the same product all at different prices. So it's a lot different, but there's a lot more competition. The cost of doing business is very expensive as well. Marketing, like how's anyone going to know about my brand? Like,
are you kind of like focusing on like a market like California or versus
So there's no point trying to sell coconut water in an area that no one's going to buy it, right? If it's not going to work in places like New York, Miami, and California, it's not going to work anywhere else. So it's the budget's not that big. I wish I had the Swiss budget. Tell them to give me a call. But I think I'm doing it in a way that there's obviously a bit of risk there, but it won't hurt the business if it doesn't work.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Thank you very much, Scott.
Thanks very much.
Podcast.
Yeah, appreciate
it. Thanks so much. Happy New Year too.
You too, guys. Thank you.
Cool, thank you.